There are two extremely strong pulse rifles you need to be using right now, and today we're going to put them head to head, finding out which one is crowned the winner for PvP. In one corner, we have the Messenger, a pinnacle 340 RPM pulse rifle dropping from Trials of Osiris. In the other corner, we have the No Time to Explain, an exotic 340 introduced at the onset of Beyond Light back in November 2020. To do this right, I'm going to run through each one individually first so that you know why these ones are so special, and then I'm going to compare their pros and cons side by side to ultimately find a winner. Let's start off with the Messenger. There's actually two versions of this because you can get an Adept one for going flawless on certain weekends and trials. Three key differences exist between the base and Adept version. First is that it comes with Celerity as a second perk option in that fourth column. Second is the fact that when you equip your typical mod slot, instead of boosting just that one category, it actually gives you a little bump to the other stats as well. Third is that your mod slot actually has a lot more options. It includes all of your Masterworks as a mod option, or to go with beefed up versions of the regular mods, but do be careful because some of those ones have some pretty hefty trade-offs. Now with that out of the way, let's just dive into the core. Messenger is a high impact archetype, which means two things. The rate of fire is 340 RPM. This is slow, but it deals a lot of damage per bullet, so much so that you can kill people in just 2 bursts. For 10 resilience, it needs all 6 of them to be headshots, but for 9 resilience and lower, you only need 5 crit 1 body. This isn't easy to do, but it's not as tough as it sounds either, thanks to Destiny's strong aim assist mechanics, which is why the archetype remains popular. A lot of people know this pulse rifle is very special though because of a perk named Desperado, and we're definitely going to get there, but there's a few things you really need to know first. Right out the gate, Messenger is a beast for base stats. This picture compares it to the other high impact legendary pulses, and all of those red numbers are showing how much worse they are in comparison. It's truly the king in this regard, and there isn't much else I need to say, so for that reason, let's just talk about why recoil direction is such an important one to pay attention to. When you shoot this weapon at base, it kicks like a mule to the right, but we can fix it. I want you to picture a Christmas tree for a second. This is the shape of Destiny's weapon recoil system. An inverted sine wave that converges. Full credit for the equation to this graph goes to the folks on screen, but let me run you through it. The green line is where your crosshair is going to kick whenever you shoot. See how at that number 60, the green bump is on the right hand side? Well, look at the Messenger's recoil stat. It's 60 and it's kicking to the right. Now look at number 70 on the graph. It's on the other side of the axis. That means the weapon's going to kick to the left instead of the right, but be a little bit less because it's a smaller bump on that graph. What's really important to notice here though is that whenever the recoil stat ends in a 5, it's crossing that axis. That means it's not going to kick to the left or to the right, it's vertical. Unfortunately, Bungie's in-game tooltip doesn't even show you this, so you need something like DIM or D2 Gunsmith to actually see a weapon's recoil stat, and in the case of Messenger, it's 60 at base, which is awful. There are 2 ways to fix it though. Number 1 is to add the arrowhead break barrel. This adds 30 recoil to your stat, which brings it up to a total of 90. I know it ends in a 0, so it kicks left, but because it's such a high number in general, it doesn't really matter. The second way is by simply using a counterbalance mod. By default, it adds 15 to the recoil stat of your weapon. 60 plus 15 is 75, that beautiful vertical spread. Using this mod makes every barrel a viable option. The reason people strive for option 1 though, which is using arrowhead break as a barrel, is so that they don't have to waste the mod slot on counterbalance. My best rolled Messenger doesn't have arrowhead though, so I use counterbalance and I love it. For column 2, these aren't going to make or break your weapon, but since this is a head-to-head comparison, I'll slot in ricochet rounds for the boost to range and stability. I really can't stress enough how good stability is on this pulse rifle, but Messenger does give you an out depending on what you land for column 3, so let's head over there. You have a lot of solid perks to choose from here, and like I said, I'm not trying to dig into all of the perks for this video. Cool Guy has great content breaking them all down. The king for this column is Rapid Hit. I was actually surprised. For some reason, I thought Rapid Hit was only great on high rate of fire weapons, but man was I wrong. The perk is amazing. Even though it says rapid precision hits, implying numerous of them are required for the perk to proc, it'll actually happen after 1 bullet. Meaning the second and third ones in that same burst will already benefit from the increased stability. Coming back to that earlier statement, when I was testing non-rapid hit rolls where I was using max stability or min stability, it made me realize how often that third bullet stays as a headshot when I had high stability. But when I have rapid hit, it's giving so much stability to my follow-up bullets that I don't have to worry as much. Trust me when I say this is the king of column 3, but I don't want to knock on the other ones. Killing Wind, Outlaw, Moving Target, they're all great. It's just that Rapid Hit is my number 1. In column 4, we have the revised unicorn, if you will, Desperado. I will say, because kill clip adds 30% damage to your second kill, it means it's a lot more forgiving. Like, think of your 2 burst time to kill not needing as much accuracy because you don't have to hit as many headshots. But Desperado is why the weapon gets so much hype, so let's talk about it. After a precision kill, if you reload within 6 seconds, it'll pop up on the left-hand side of the screen. I should probably say 4 seconds because your reload animation actually has to finish within that 6 seconds, but either way, once you have it, it's up for 7 seconds long. It converts your messenger's rate of fire from that original 340 RPM all the way up to 600 RPM, and to put that into perspective, normally your 2 burst TTK is 0.67 seconds, now it's 0.43. What's funny though is that in my opinion, that isn't even the main reason you want it. Not everybody's gonna hit 5 crit 1 body for that epic 2 burst kill at that high rate of fire. There isn't a lot of room for error, and the real reason I love this perk is the fact that you can shoot 3 full bursts in 0.73 seconds. Think about that. With 9 high impact bullets hitting your target, it doesn't matter what your accuracy is. That opponent at any level of resilience is going to go down in 0.73 seconds, which is faster than 70% of all the other archetypes that are perfectly aimed. One more thing is that the messenger slays in 6s especially because you can keep cycling it, meaning if you get a precision while it's active, bam, you have another 7 seconds to keep it going. Now, before moving on to the no time to explain, I've put up some screenshots to show you how many different ways you can get solid stat combos. Notice how I didn't put rapid hit in there. That's because if you don't get it to land, this is what you should look for. Stability is important. If you do get rapid hit, however, because it boosts your stability so much, you can afford to go for more range like this one. And lastly, since Titans can't wear Ophidians, I try to respect my handling stat as much as I can, but that's personal preference. Alright, it's time to explain the no time to explain. Make no mistake, people, this thing keeps up with the messenger and it's highly underrated. Since it's an exotic, there aren't a bunch of different barrels or perks to land, it's just pre and post catalyst. The exotic perk is called Rewind Again. Every time you hit a headshot, a bullet is returned. It's that simple. This is important though because look at the magazine size, it's only 24. If I hit 1 burst of headshots though, it'll stay at 24 and honestly feels like you have infinite ammo sometimes. It doesn't technically have to be a headshot, body shots also work if they're frozen or slowed by stasis. The 4th column I don't care for. It's full auto and I don't even recommend doing it. In my experience, I hit my shots less when I'm holding the trigger down, so it's a miss in my opinion. Perk column 3 is why we're here. It's called Time Slip and it interacts with the exotic perk Rewind Again. Basically, whenever you hit those headshots and get that bullet returned, well, on the left-hand side of your screen, it keeps count for you and it actually stacks. 1 burst of 3 headshots equals 3 stacks of rewind. When this stack reaches 10, a little spherical buddy pops up next to you. It's like a mini turret that shoots 3 bullet bursts alongside you. They show 11s on screen, but now that I've confirmed resilience levels the other day, I can confidently say they deal just over 10. Bungie always rounds their numbers upwards, so even if it was like 10.1, it would actually show 11. The cool thing is that it's instant. Like, let's say you're sitting there at rewind times 9. When you go to shoot someone, the first bullet of your burst is going to bring you to 10, right? Well, no joke, the turret buddy will deal its 30 damage as fast as the next 2 bullets in your burst. Picture yourself dealing over 130 damage in your opening burst to a gunfight. It'll say time chasm on the left-hand side of your screen with a 15-second window. I did some time measuring in my editing software, and if you don't have the catalyst, it has a 45 RPM rate of fire. What that means is your turret will shoot 1 burst and then wait 1.2 seconds before it shoots the next one. If you do have the catalyst, however, it'll speed that up by 33%, which means your 2 bursts or 6 bullets hitting your target will take just over 1 second. I was trying to think of how to put this into perspective, and I think this is the best way. Since the thing is dealing 30 or 60 damage during your gunfight, imagine you have a normal high impact pulse that can 2 burst a person at base, but suddenly your opponent has 30 to 60 less health. Your headshot to body shot ratio is completely forgiven. For the hardcores who feel like they hit their headshots anyway, well, think of it as fixing the tick rate issue that are screwing your headshots from registering. A nice comparison is like having a pseudo kill clip on your weapon, but it lasts for 15 seconds and it helps for team shooting even more so. Fun fact is that the little helper will shoot up to 50 meters with no damage drop off, so you could just run around blind and still be helping your teammates out quite a bit. Now what about resetting? Well, as long as you're hitting headshots with your weapon, the window stays still. Some other cool facts are that you can swap weapons, reload, do whatever you want. It won't go away. Even when you're trying to get to your 10 stacks, rewind will just stay there. Don't worry about swapping and losing it. The only way it's disappearing is if you die or if you end the round for obvious reasons, because they can't have you start a round in trials with an advantage like that. The No Time exotic is truly incredible, and I feel like not enough people talk about it. Put this on and go for a rip. Yes, I'm Canadian. Now let's figure out which one's better. The sights on a weapon can really make or break whether people like it, so let's start there. I like that the Messenger's frame is low. It's wider than No Time's, but it's still slightly better in my opinion. The sight glass thing on No Time is better because it's semi-transparent, but I do have two issues. Number one is the sway. Like when you're trying to put the dot on your enemy's head, but you're strafing, it sways quite a bit, which is annoying. And then number two is this like blue light energy floating around. I don't know why Bungie thought it'd be cool to have it literally cover your crosshair sometimes. It's not all the time, but it is still a little annoying. I'm going to chalk 1 point up to the Messenger. Let's talk base stats. With No Time being an exotic, it's static. It gives decent range, mediocre stability, and high handling. Messenger, however, is dynamic, and let me show you what I mean by that. Say you wanted to roughly match the range stat. Well, you can do that by switching around your barrel, second perk, mods, whatever. And in this case, the Messenger can have the same range with a lot more stability, but albeit it does have less handling. The Messenger can get there as well, and in that case, it has slightly less range, but it still has more stability. No Time has more aim assist, but if you get a Messenger with a chambered compensator barrel for that juicy recoil direction, now you could use targeting adjuster for your mod if that's what's really important to you. How about reload? No Time's got it crushed there, but if you land rapid hit on the Messenger, remember, it not only grants you stability, but also fast reload, so it pretty much solves that front. Although I prefer No Time's high handling, the mere fact Messenger is so dynamic, having many different ways of matching it or even surpassing it in whatever category you prefer, we really got to give that point to the legendary. Alright, what about zoom? I didn't talk about in the base stats, and it's because people often overlook it. Zoom adds to your effective range. For example, No Time's 82 range with 17 zoom has a damage drop-off starting just shy of 37 meters. An 81 range Messenger with 18 zoom will drop off just shy of 39 meters. Normally I preach how good zoom is for this, like on an SMG for example, but because pulse rifles already have solid distance intrinsically and Destiny's maps often feel small with how fast movement is, for me, I win my up close engagements a lot more using No Time versus the Messenger because I'm an aggressive player and I can appreciate that lower zoom when I'm up close. I'm gonna chalk this one up for the No Time, so it's 2-1. Stick with me, we're going to compare Desperado to Time Chasm in a moment, but how about farmability? Well, the No Time to Explain is a quest line. If you own Beyond Light, you have it as a guaranteed drop. No RNG required. I'm pretty sure if someone new buys Witch Queen but not Beyond Light, they won't actually have access to the quest, which kind of negates my point, but I'm also pretty sure Trials right now you need Beyond Light anyway, so it's a moot point. I also made a video recently showing just how bad RNG really is, so if you wanted a specific role, like one absolute god roll Messenger, your odds are 1 in 3,528. With the No Time to Explain, it's 1 out of 1. Chalk another one up for the No Time. Now what about pairings? This is also overlooked, but it's pretty crucial. They're both kinetic, so all your options are energy, but with No Time being exotic, I can't run duality. I'm skipping this section out of anger, and I'm giving Messenger the point because I'm upset. This means we're on to Desperado versus Time Chasm. You already saw the detailer on the mechanics, so let me just point out a few tidbits I left out and then the ultimate 1v1 question. Desperado lasts 7 seconds, but resets when killing. Time Chasm lasts more than double that, and it extends on headshots, not kills. I'm giving this point to No Time. In order to proc Desperado, you need to first get a kill, then reload. If you swap, it goes away. Time Chasm doesn't go away from swapping, and you can take pot shots at whatever pace you want, slowly getting your rewind stacks up there, which is actually really hard for your opponents to keep track of too. Another point for No Time. Remember how I showed that the Messenger had those extra meters of range because of the zoom? Well, it's still limited to just over 40 meters. When Time Chasm is up, however, because your turret doesn't experience damage drop-off, it completely counteracts the weapon drop-off, and you can still easily 2-burst at 50 meters. You don't even need the 5 crit 1 body either. It's so important for this part to sink in, so let me just repeat that. You do not need to hit all your headshots or the 2-burst time to kill. Of course, if we compare the optimal TTKs of both, Desperado comes out on top, 0.43 seconds versus 0.67, but what if you don't hit at least 5 crits on the Messenger? You need that 3rd burst. I mentioned before that the time to kill becomes 0.73 seconds. With No Time, you're basically guaranteed a 2-burst kill because headshots aren't critical. Get my pun there? Suddenly that TTK of 0.67 is the faster one. For anyone racing to the comments to correct me, I got you. Realistically, with the Messenger, you're not going to need the full third burst. You might only need 1 or 2 of its bullets. So this is how it actually plays out. 0.65 if you need that 7th bullet with Desperado, 0.69 if you need 8. Compare that to the 0.67 of No Time, right in the middle. That, my friends, is as close as it gets. Take a look here. I consistently win with No Time because I'm 2 bursting him while he's having to shoot a 3rd burst if he misses his headshots. Now, to be clear, if you hit your shots with Desperado or you want to deal DPS over an extended time, it simply wins. It's just better. But hopefully this has opened your mind a bit about how strong No Time to Explain really is. And as a result, the official crown goes to Vigiwing. Wait, what?